Why did so many damn good riders get taken out by the track there at Charlotte at the SMX playoff round 1, which caused the red flag? We have Marchbanks here hitting the deck hard, and then furthermore, you have Juju breaking his back by triple on, off, triple, then front wheel down, Indonesia, and then Seth, somewhat doing the same thing, on, off, then off again, then double, then tries to triple, and then ends up, boom, endoing. We saw that happen consistently through there. What was going on? Well, let me break it down for you. There's two things. And pretty much the first thing that I want you guys to pay attention to when we see this happen is, here, if we break this down, I did break down the track and said that this was probably going to be the fastest line. This is hard to see. But there's two things that's going on, especially for the 250s, okay, is the track was very deep and their suspension is too soft. They haven't figured out what balance do they want for SMX. And so when you get into those Gs, we can see it more on some of the other footage here. Watch Seth as he comes through here. Just completely bottoms out that suspension. And we'll continue to watch it. Off, on, boom. Now look, did you see what happened? Look at the transition. Transition basically completely claps out. And when that happens, the bike, ugh, and there's a little bit of rebound. And if we look at the bike bounces, he loses some of his momentum. Boom. The G outs happen again. And it kicks him and ends up going down. So the other thing is these guys are running out of gear as well because of just the long track that is designed for the SMX playoffs. Is they're very fast. So what are you going to do? Are you going to run a setup that is top speed, or are you going to run a setup that's going to be good through the one rhythm section that is Supercross? No, you're going to set the majority of the bike up for the moto part because there's just big doubles and fast sections that you need to be able to get through. So you're going to have the bike geared fast and you're going to have the suspension soft. Well, this is why we caused a lot of crashes through here, especially through this hard rhythm section. And this was just insane. Absolutely insane. Watch Jett. This is the same section, but I want you to pay attention to his shift foot. Okay, yeah, I just missed it here. But look at what he does right here. And I will slow it back down so that you guys can check it out. But what does he do? Boom. He shifts up and he leans his body forward because that motorcycle is starting to endo. He's running out of gear. And what happens when you run out of gear? Well, the bike, and then you have no forward momentum. So if you've ever come off a jump just wide open and then try to come to maybe another jump, if you're lucky enough to be able to not endo on the first one, well, that motorcycle is going to have no bite to keep it down, and the gyros are going to force you to start to endo. So if we just go back to this and watch. Shifts up, leans forward, and almost kills himself. Absolutely almost kills himself right here. Give it up to Ryan Mason for having this video here. So shout out to him. Gonna break it down. Here, we'll watch it again. Just shifts up so that the bike doesn't endo, and he barely makes it. Barely makes it. And then here's Deegan. And this was Deegan's line typically. I talked a little bit about how guys would probably decide to quad the two tabletops because it might be safer. But watch, quads the two tabletops, then almost gets a little sketchy, but he did do a triple there at one point. But right when he was racing with Seth for the moto win, this was the only time I saw him do it. Massive seat bounce to try to hop on top. Boom. Off on, tries the triple. Big preload. So if we look at that. Knees down. But again, guys, if we just look at what is going on here with the suspension, like it is completely flat. Totally bogged down because of the track and because of just they're not running a full-blown Supercross setup. It's hybrid, but I want to say it's more than likely 80% moto, 20% Supercross, because what's the track? No whoops. So therefore you don't need this crazy stiff suspension, and you need just a fast bike. So he's able to triple, over jumps it, and gets by him. But I'm looking this because this section just killed everybody. Watch how freaking soft this suspension is for Jett. Okay, trying to catch it again, dude. These motorcycles, insane that it just completely bottoms out. It's got to be hard on these guys. Got to be hard on these guys to be able to ride a bike that's this soft. I mean, he's ridden a motorcycle that's incredibly soft the entire outdoor nationals, because that's one of the things that enabled him to win. Yes, it is his talent and the generational talent, but I do believe that those bikes are set up really well. Look at how soft this bike is and how much it does soak up. Super fast, okay? Because what happened with Seth and those guys? Well, when they cased this jumps, they lost forward momentum, and it wasn't able to get back on the ground fast enough, and then they started an endo. This SOB's motorcycle, super fast suspension, able to instantly get back, and is able to downside this stuff cleanly. Yes, it is a 450 versus a 250, but those factory 250s are incredibly torquey. That's why I'm leaning towards that their bikes are not geared for Supercross either. They're geared for speed, because in a drag race, you're going to lose out if you do not have the top speed. You're just leaving seconds on the table right there. Now that I'm done with what happened with all the crashes, watch Jett as he doubles over this crazy mud area, but look at his toes. Where's his toes? His toes are not on that rear brake, okay? He's got on the clutch. He's dragging the front brake just a little bit, or it's there ready, but it almost looks like he is dragging the front brake a tad bit. I don't necessarily think he's on, but it's just there just in case. But if we watch, okay, what's going on here? He is not on that rear brake. He is just coasting through all this stuff where everybody's braking hard. Nope, not Jett. Jett decides he is just going to roll through all this stuff and then sit down and, no brakes throughout that entire section. And then if we have Deegan, this was just full commitment. Absolutely incredible commitment to get around Forkner. Give it up for Forkner for, small golf clap for Forkner for this last weekend's race, because he's finally turning everything around. But look at the sheer commitment on the outside to then just haul ass and just jump right around your competitor. Just no shits given, right? And that's how he's able to get through this stuff, is he's got this entire field. This, unfortunately, was the dynamic that Forkner had, I want to say 5-ish years ago, is nobody wanted to mess with him. But now Deegan is the new dog or top dog, and you got the underdog, ironically. Just goes right around him, boom, and is able to case that jump and just keep a WFO so that it doesn't happen. I want to highlight this individual, Tomac, because he's riding better than he ever has. I am convinced that this is the best Tomac that we've seen. We just have guys like Jett that are just on freaking rails. Literally, they are just attached to a train track, and there's no stopping them. No stopping them. But watch what Tomac ends up doing. Wheelies over these ruts and creates his own line. He isn't following. He's trying to get around Jett, and that's what I like to see. He's not the type of individual that's like, oh, head games, I'm hanging with Jett. I'm hanging with the best in the world. I'm just gonna be happy with that. No, this is a guy that arguably has been the best in the world and is wanting the title back. He wants that number one. So he is trying to look for ways around, and he's just attacking the track. Wheelies over this rut, wheelies over another one, or just hammers through the other rut, able to get around. And okay, I did want to point out that I did say, okay, not toot my own horn, but absolutely tooting my own horn, that this side, this right-hand side ended up being faster. And why was that? Well, it's because you get to drag your rear brake. The other side, you're unable to drag that rear brake. So you've got to coast a little bit. You can't come in as hot. And when you're racing with guys right next to you, you need to have a clean area. And not just that, but now you're coming from the outside versus a straight line where you have to just brake in a straight line. You can now kind of coast a little bit. So I did say that in two sentences, where you have to brake real hard and then coast, right? But you have to do all of it. So if we just look at this, you can see why Jett got the whole shot and why the Seth got the whole shot from that outside, regardless of what people said that the inside is going to be better. It's just the angle of the dangle. That's how it is. Just physics. Just simple physics. Yeah, Tomac was able to beat the majority of the guys there, but, you know, I still am going to disagree with any argument that says that inside was going to be faster. By no means. And watching Tomac coming off one of the last big triples, how he is just jumping and doing the Jetson thing, okay? Jumping straight into this corner. He's attacking, but he's, again, learning from his competitors, and that's what makes his career last as long as it has, is he hasn't just been stuck in his own ways. He is an older dog that is learning new tricks, and that's why Tomac is such an exceptional rider. And this was so cool to see, too. These little side over the cement barriers. Watch what he does. Is he's braking real hard, a little bit of brake slide, and what is that? That is the effing scoop tire that Tomac always wants to run. I don't know why. They need to just ban that sucker, because it destroys the track and it helps with those rhythms, with getting holes and creating a lot of the danger in the rhythms because of just that. They're cupping them out. But anyway, I digress. He's brake sliding, getting on the gas instantly all the way over it, where most guys are braking and waiting to accelerate until they are on the downside. But nope, not Tomac. Tomac doesn't wait for that. Tomac doesn't wait to start accelerating from there. He waits for the very beginning of the quarter to start accelerating, which is just super cool to see, right? If there's one guy that's going to beat him, actually there's two guys. It's going to be Sexton and Tomac that could potentially beat Jett. I don't think Hunter can. I know Hunter's fast, but he's just got to get out of his own way. Full-blown speed-wise, it is Sexton and Tomac all day. Tomac, I think, is missing a little bit of speed even on Sexton, so he's got to start out front and get a little lucky. Sexton, I think, can actually chase Jett down and force an error out of him. But that is this week in Moto Breakdown. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, notification icon, and I'm help a man out. Hit that subscribe button for me, right? Let's do it. I'm going to MX Nation's going to go to the last Vegas round as well. So yeah, let's get those subscribers up. Appreciate it, guys.